Walk this way.
What does this unproductive, unbiblical tradition invented by the Catholic Church, which they call a sacrament, and adopted by the Protestant Church, which comes from misunderstanding the Lord's Supper, what do they have in common with Young Frankenstein starring Gene Wilder? You see, Igor walks this way as a hunchback, and when he picks up Dr. Frankenstein, he tells him, walk this way. Dr. Frankenstein takes the cane and he starts walking this way. And everybody knows it means walk this path. You see, it's all in the wording.
Walk this way. This way.
When Jesus says, do this in memory of me, it's the same thing. In Matthew's and Mark's version, it sounds like Jesus gives them the same cup and they all sip out of it. But in Luke's version, it says that Jesus gives them the cup so they can distribute it. So I can see them taking it and putting a little bit in their own cup. Remember, Jesus had someone prepare for him and he told his guys to go tell him, I'm ready for it. So I'm sure Jesus had told them in the past, hey, I'm going to have the Passover with about a party of 12 or more. Do you think there was one little bread like this at the supper? Or was it something like this that the baker had in mind, and it was flat, but I'm sure it was multiple. So when Jesus took the bread, do you think that he took, little pieces and passed it? Or did he break the bread and give it to them? I think that he took a few pita breads. They were getting chunk size like Jesus was doing and sharing it. And he says, do this in memory of me. So the breaking of bread was really sharing for equality. The problem is that none of us were there, and writings tend to be flat. So like in Gene Wilder,
walk this way.
Do this in memory of me, we think like with the sipping thing that they were sipping a little bit, and for that misunderstanding we get the idea that we're getting little pieces or maybe bite size, and that's how we get the Catholic and Protestant versions. It was called breaking bread, or the Lord's Supper, or a sacrament if you like. But it was done with full-blown meals. If you can't do it with full-blown meals, don't do it at all. And that's what the true first Christians were doing, having full-blown meals. But Paul complained to them that they were getting drunk and neglecting the poor at the supper. Jesus early in the ministry said, eat my body and drink my blood, for I am real food, because real food nourishes you just like Jesus. So it alludes to Jesus. And it doesn't have to be bread and wine from that culture. It could be spaghetti. It could be rice and beans, hamburgers with Coca-Cola, Sprite, or whatever. Oh, but some pastors will say, oh, but that would cost too much. Well, then heaven is too expensive for you. The reason you keep doing it like this is because they'll keep coming to church. But if you do it Jesus' way, they won't come to church. They'll be at home doing it comfortably. So I invite any of you to my house to do the Lord's Supper Jesus' way.